The massive windows of the Jupiter Station observation deck offered a stunning view of the gas giant below. Jack Mercer stood with his hands behind his back, watching the swirling storms of the planet as the artificial gravity hummed beneath his feet. The station rotated slowly, giving him a new angle of Jupiter's great red spot. "Beautiful, isn't it?" a voice said from behind him. Jack turned to see Olivia Sutton, another cadet from Earth. Her dark hair was pulled back in a tight, regulation bun, and her blue uniform matched his own. "First time seeing it up close," Jack admitted. "Pictures don't do it justice." Olivia nodded. "I grew up looking at space photos. Being here feels unreal." Jack had only met Olivia during orientation yesterday. Like him, she was part of the first human class accepted into the Terran Space Academy after Earth joined the Galactic Concord 3 months ago. 32 alien species had been traveling the stars for centuries before humans figured out faster-than-light travel. "You were Marines, right?" Olivia asked. 4 years, Jack said. "You?" "MIT Engineering." She pointed toward the large circular chamber at the end of the corridor. "We should get to the welcome ceremony. I heard the Admiral is speaking." They walked together toward the gathering hall. Other cadets filled the corridors, some human, but most distinctly not. A tall, blue-skinned alien with 4 arms carefully moved aside as Jack and Olivia approached. Its eyes widened slightly, and Jack noticed how it pressed against the wall to avoid any contact. "That's the 3rd one who's done that," Jack muttered. Olivia nodded. "They're scared of us." Scared? Why would they be scared? Before she could answer, they entered the main hall. Nearly 200 cadets stood in formation, divided by species. Jack spotted the human section and nodded goodbye to Olivia as they separated to find their places. Jack took his position next to Cadet Daniel Reeves, a quiet man with sharp eyes who gave him a slight nod. At the front of the hall, a tall human woman in an admiral's uniform stepped onto the raised platform. The room fell silent. "Welcome to Jupiter Station," Admiral Catherine Wright said, her voice carrying through the hall without needing amplification. "I am Admiral Wright, commanding officer of this training facility. You represent the best your worlds have to offer, and now you will train together as members of the Galactic Concord." She gestured to a thin, gray-skinned alien with large, black eyes who stood beside her. "Ambassador Zalvoris of the Concord will say a few words." The ambassador stepped forward. His movements were fluid but cautious as he surveyed the room. When his gaze passed over the human section, Jack noticed a slight pause. "Cadets of the Concord," Zalvoris began, his voice surprisingly deep. "For 10,000 years the Galactic Concord has maintained peace among the stars. Each new species brings unique perspectives and abilities. Earth is our newest member world, and we welcome our human friends." Something in his tone made Jack feel like he was talking about a dangerous animal that had been let into the house. "Some of you may have heard that Earth is classified as a death world," the ambassador continued. "This simply means the conditions there would be challenging for many conquered species. Higher gravity, atmospheric composition, and evolutionary pressures have shaped our human colleagues differently than most of us." Whispers rippled through the alien cadets. Jack glanced at Daniel, who raised an eyebrow but remained silent. "Special training protocols have been established to ensure everyone's safety and success," Zalvoris said. "We ask for patience and understanding from all cadets as we adjust to working together." After the ceremony ended, Jack, Daniel, and Olivia found themselves assigned to the same squadron, Blue Squadron, comprised of 12 cadets from 6 different species. "Why did he make it sound like we're dangerous?" Jack asked as they walked to their assigned quarters. "Because to them we are," Daniel spoke for the first time. His voice was quiet but firm. "Earth's gravity is nearly twice what most of their homeworlds have. Our muscles and bones developed under those conditions." "Daniel's right," Olivia added. "I read the briefing materials. Many Concord species evolved on low-gravity worlds with stable climates and few predators. They consider Earth extremely hostile. Toxic atmosphere, dangerous wildlife, extreme weather. That's why they call it a death world," Daniel concluded. Their quarters were simple but comfortable. The 3 humans were given a separate section from the alien cadets, which Jack found oddly segregated for an organization promoting unity. The next morning, training began. Their first session was basic physical assessment in the station's gymnasium. The blue-skinned, four-armed alien Jack had seen earlier introduced himself as Instructor Krazital. "Today we measure baseline physical capabilities," Krazital explained. "We start with standard lifting test." The alien cadets went first. Most could lift weights between 20 and 40 pounds with visible effort. When Jack's turn came, he easily lifted the 40-pound weight with one hand. "More," instructed Krazital. They added weight until Jack was lifting 180 pounds. The alien cadets watched with a mixture of awe and unease. "Sufficient," Krazital finally said, making notes on his tablet. Olivia and Daniel demonstrated similar strength, with Olivia lifting 150 pounds and Daniel managing 190. Later that day, during meal break, a bird-like alien cadet named Vril approached their table. "Your strength is impressive," Vril said, his feathers ruffling. "On my world, only machines lift such weights." "It's just normal for us," Olivia explained kindly. "Earth's gravity makes us stronger here in standard Concord gravity." More tests followed throughout the week: endurance, reflexes, and problem-solving. The humans consistently scored at the top, causing increasing discomfort among the instructors. On the fifth day, they began partner exercises. Jack was paired with a green-skinned humanoid named Zexitra. The exercise required them to grasp forearms and practice balance transfers. When Jack gripped Zexitra's arm, he heard a sharp crack. The alien screamed in pain, his arm hanging at an odd angle. "Medical team to training room 4, Krazital shouted into his communicator. The room fell silent as medics rushed in. Jack stood frozen, horrified. "I barely touched him," he whispered to Olivia. Admiral Wright arrived shortly after, her face grim. After speaking with the medical team, she pulled Jack aside. "Cadet Mercer, Zexitra's species, has hollow bones. Their structural strength is different from ours." "I didn't know," Jack said, feeling sick. "Is he going to be okay?" "Yes, but this incident highlights why we need modified protocols." She looked at the 3 human cadets. "Starting tomorrow, you'll have separate physical training until we determine safe parameters for integrated exercises." As they left the training room, Jack noticed Ambassador Zalvoris watching from the observation deck above. The ambassador's expression was unreadable as he made notes on a small device. That night, in their quarters, the 3 humans sat in troubled silence. "They're afraid of us," Jack finally said. "Really afraid." Daniel nodded. "And now they're separating us from the others." "Can you blame them?" Olivia asked. "We just got here and already someone's injured." Jack stared at his hands. "I don't want to be treated like some kind of monster." "Then we need to show them we're more than just strong," Olivia said firmly. "We need to show them what humans are really capable of." In his private quarters, Ambassador Zalvoris recorded his daily log. "These humans seem docile enough in controlled environments, but their physical capabilities are concerning. The incident today confirms our initial assessments. We must proceed with caution. If they ever realize their true potential relative to other Concord species, the consequences could be significant." He encrypted the message and sent it through a secure channel, then gazed out at the stars, wondering if bringing Earth into the Concord had been a mistake after all. 3 months passed on Jupiter Station. The human cadets now trained separately from the alien species most of the time. Today was different. All cadets gathered in the main simulation chamber for a special announcement. Admiral Wright stood at the center of the room next to a tall, broad-shouldered man in an instructor's uniform. "This is Instructor Ryan Parker," Admiral Wright announced. "He has joined us from Earth to help bridge the training gaps between human cadets and other species." Parker nodded at the assembled cadets. His face was serious, with a scar running along his left jaw. "I was a combat instructor for Earth's Special Forces," Parker said. "My job is to help all of you understand each other's capabilities and limitations. We fight as one Concord, so we must train as one." After the meeting, Jack, Olivia, and Daniel walked together toward the mess hall. "Finally," Jack said. "Maybe now we can stop being treated like we might break everyone we touch." "I don't know," Daniel replied quietly. Did you notice the security officers at the doors? They weren't there before. Olivia frowned. And they were all non-humans. As they entered the mess hall, an avian alien with blue-gray feathers approached them. She was taller than most humans, with a sleek head and bright yellow eyes. "May I join you?" she asked, her voice musical. "I am Cadet Zivtal from Avis Prime." "Of course," Olivia said with a smile. They sat together at a table away from the other cadets. "You are the first humans I have met," Zivtal said, watching them eat with obvious curiosity. "Your training scores are impressive." "Thanks," Jack said. "But we're just doing our best, like everyone else." Zivtal tilted her head. "Not like everyone else. You three consistently perform at levels impossible for most species." "Is that why the others avoid us?" Daniel asked. "Some fear what they do not understand," Zivtal admitted. "But I find humans fascinating. Your world must be remarkable to produce such adaptable beings." "Earth isn't special to us," Olivia explained. "It's just home." Their conversation was interrupted when a tall, insect-like alien approached their table. It had a hard exoskeleton and compound eyes that gleamed under the lights. "Cadets," it said in a clicking voice. "I am Instructor Qatar. Report to Training Room 7 at 600 tomorrow for special exercises." After Qatar left, Zivtal looked worried. "Qatar is known for difficult training scenarios. Be careful." The next morning, the human cadets arrived at Training Room 7 to find Qatar waiting with several other alien instructors. The room had been transformed into an obstacle course, unlike any they had seen before. "Today's exercise simulates vacuum rescue," Qatar explained. "You will wear these training suits that limit mobility and oxygen. The goal is to rescue the target dummy from the far chamber and return within the time limit." The suits were bulky and restrictive. Jack struggled to move his arms as the heavy helmet closed around his head. The air supply made a hissing sound as it activated. "This seems harder than standard training," Olivia whispered through the suit's comm system. "Begin," Qatar announced. The humans moved through the course, climbing over barriers and crawling through narrow tunnels. The limited oxygen made breathing difficult. Jack's muscles burned with effort as he pulled himself through a tight passage. They reached the dummy together and worked as a team to carry it back. As they neared the finish line, warning lights flashed in their helmets. Oxygen was running critically low. "Push through," Daniel gasped. They stumbled across the finish line just as their air supplies gave out. The instructors quickly removed their helmets. Jack gulped in fresh air, his lungs burning. Qatar stared at them with an unreadable expression. Completion time, 8 minutes, 42 seconds. Previous record was 12 minutes, 17 seconds. The humans looked at each other in confusion. They hadn't known they were trying to break a record. Later that day, Olivia sat at a computer terminal in the library section. She had been comparing their training exercises with the standard Concord protocols. "This doesn't make sense," she muttered as Daniel and Jack joined her. "What doesn't?" Jack asked. Olivia pointed to the screen. "The vacuum rescue exercise we did this morning. The standard version uses half the weight and twice the oxygen supply. They're testing us harder than the others," Daniel said, his voice low. "Not just harder," Olivia replied. "These parameters would be fatal for most conquered species." A shadow fell across their table. They looked up to see a tall human man in an intelligence officer's uniform. "Cadets," he said quietly. "I'm Major Scott Harrison, Earth Intelligence. We need to talk privately." He led them to a small meeting room and activated a device that emitted a low hum. "Anti-listening field," he explained. "What I'm about to tell you isn't public knowledge." The cadets waited as Harrison gathered his thoughts. "The Concord has been deliberately testing human cadets beyond normal parameters," he said finally. "They want to know what we're capable of." "Why?" Jack asked. "Fear," Harrison replied simply. "Humans evolved on what they classify as an extreme death world. Our natural abilities exceed most conquered species by significant margins. Some conquered. Officials are concerned about human potential." "They think we're dangerous," Daniel said. Harrison nodded. The Conquered has existed for thousands of years with species of similar capabilities. Then we show up, able to survive conditions that would kill most of them. What should we do? Olivia asked. For now, just be aware. Next week, the station is hosting a combat tournament between species. It's being presented as friendly competition, but it's another test. The tournament day arrived. The station's main arena was filled with cadets and officers from all sections. 8 species would compete, including humans. The rules are simple, announced Admiral Wright. Non-lethal combat, only. First team to surrender or become unable to continue loses. The human team, Jack, Daniel, Olivia, and 3 other cadets, watched as different species battled in various styles. Some used technology, others relied on natural abilities. Our opponents are the Vekshi, Daniel noted, pointing to a group of gray-skinned aliens with enhanced cybernetic limbs. They're known for military excellence. When their turn came, the humans stepped into the arena. The Vekshi moved with incredible speed, their cybernetic enhancements humming with power. But in the lower gravity of the arena, the humans were faster than anyone expected. Jack dodged a strike that would have knocked him unconscious, then countered, with a careful blow that sent his opponent stumbling. Around him, the other humans were similarly outmaneuvering the Vekshi. Within minutes, the match was over. The humans had won without a single casualty on either side. Silence filled the arena. Then Zivtal began to applaud, followed slowly by others. As they left the arena, Zivtal pulled Olivia aside. "You need to be careful," she whispered urgently. "Some in the Conquered fear your kind. They are looking for reasons to restrict Earth's involvement." That evening, in his private quarters, Ambassador Zalvoris received an encrypted message from his government. Continue assessment, determine threat level, prepare contingencies. He looked at the human performance data on his screen and felt a chill. These cadets weren't even trying their hardest yet. What would happen when they did? 6 months into their training, the human cadets received news that excited everyone. They would go on their first real mission. Admiral Wright gathered them in the briefing room to explain. "You will join the crew of the USS Intrepid for a supply. Run to our research outpost on Triton," she said, pointing to an image of Neptune's largest moon. "This is a routine mission, but it will give you practical experience." Jack couldn't hide his smile. After months of simulations and training, they would finally see real action. Beside him, Olivia and Daniel looked equally pleased. "Captain Allison, Ward commands the Intrepid," Admiral Wright continued. "She expects exemplary behavior from all cadets. Commander Eric Daniels will serve as your liaison officer." The next day, the human cadets boarded a shuttle to the Intrepid. The ship was larger than Jack expected, sleek and powerful. In the docking bay, a woman with short blonde hair and a captain's uniform greeted them. "Welcome aboard, cadets," Captain Ward said. "The Intrepid is one of our newest vessels, designed to Concord specifications but built on Earth. You have 2 days to familiarize yourselves with the ship before we depart for Triton." Commander Daniels, a tall man with dark skin and a serious expression, showed them to their quarters. "The mission should take 1 week total. 3 days to Triton, 1 day for supply transfer, and 3 days back." Jack noticed other alien cadets, watching them with curious eyes as they walked through the ship. "Why are they staring at us?" he whispered to Olivia. "Word of our combat tournament victory spread quickly," she replied. "We're celebrities now, whether we like it or not." During the journey to Triton, the cadets worked various stations on the bridge, learning ship operations firsthand. Jack was assigned to security, Daniel to tactical, and Olivia to engineering. On the 3rd day, they arrived at Triton. The moon's high surface was a beautiful mix of blue and white ice. The research outpost was a collection of domes connected by tunnels built into a crater. "Opening communications with Triton Base," announced the communications officer. "That's strange." No response. "Captain," Ward frowned. "Scan the area." "Multiple unidentified vessels detected near the outpost," reported Daniel from the tactical station. "They match no Concord signatures." "Red alert," Captain Ward ordered. "All hands to battle stations." The Intrepid moved closer to Triton. The view screen, they could now see 5 ships surrounding the research outpost. They had sharp, angular designs with weapons pointed at the base. Pirates, Commander Daniel said grimly. The Shard Collective. They raid isolated outposts for technology and supplies. Open a channel, Captain Ward commanded. When the connection established, she spoke clearly. This is Captain Allison Ward of the USS Intrepid. You are trespassing on conquered territory. Withdraw immediately. A harsh laugh answered her. On the screen appeared a reptilian alien with green scales and yellow eyes. A jagged scar ran from his eye to his jaw. I am Trichala of the Shard Collective, he hissed. This outpost now belongs to us. Leave or be destroyed. We cannot abandon our people, Captain Ward replied. Prepare to defend yourselves. The pirate. Ships fired first. The Intrepid shook as energy blasts hit its shields. Shields at 80%, reported an officer. Return fire, ordered Captain Ward. Target their weapon systems only. The battle continued for several minutes. The Intrepid managed to disable 2 pirate vessels, but the other 3 coordinated their attacks effectively. Captain, shouted the security chief. We're being boarded. They've bypassed our shields somehow. Security teams to decks 4 and 7, Captain Ward commanded. She turned to the cadets. You will remain on the bridge. This is not an exercise for trainees. Jack, Daniel, and Olivia exchanged glances but followed orders. Minutes later, reports came in of pirates overwhelming the security teams and taking control of engineering. They've cut power to weapons and shields, the tactical officer reported. We're defenseless. Captain Ward's face was grim. Prepare for emergency protocols. We cannot let them take this ship. Jack leaned close to Daniel and Olivia. We need to do something, he whispered. The ventilation shafts, Olivia suggested quietly. They connect all decks, and I studied the ship schematics. We could reach engineering without being seen. That's against orders, Daniel pointed out. If we do nothing, everyone on this ship could die, Jack argued. They made their decision. While the bridge crew was distracted, the 3 cadets slipped away through a maintenance hatch. The narrow passages were tight, but they moved quickly through them. Engineering is 2 levels down, Olivia whispered, leading the way. When they reached engineering, they peered through a grate. 6 pirates held the engineering crew at gunpoint. The chief engineer lay unconscious on the floor. What's the plan? Daniel asked. The artificial gravity controls are near that console, Olivia pointed. If I can reach it, I can create a diversion. We'll handle the pirates, Jack said. Ready? They burst from the ventilation shaft, taking the pirates by surprise. Olivia ran for the console while Jack and Daniel engaged the invaders. The lower gravity of the ship compared to Earth gave the humans a significant advantage. They moved faster than the pirates expected. Jack disarmed 1 pirate with a quick strike, then used the alien's weapon to stun another. Daniel moved with similar speed, tackling 2 pirates at once. Olivia reached the console and quickly input commands. Suddenly, the gravity and engineering shut off completely. The pirates, unused to zero-gravity combat, flailed helplessly. The humans, who had trained extensively for this, moved with precision. Within minutes, all 6 pirates were subdued. Olivia restored gravity, and Jack contacted the bridge. Engineering secure, Captain, he reported. Requesting medical assistance for the chief engineer. Captain Ward's voice was a mix of relief and anger. You disobeyed direct orders, Cadet Mercer. Yes, ma'am, Jack acknowledged. We'll accept any punishment after the mission. With engineering back under control, the Intrepid's crew quickly regained the upper hand. The remaining pirates retreated to their ships and fled. At the research outpost, they found the scientists shaken but mostly unharmed. One woman with gray hair and intense eyes approached Captain Ward. Captain, I'm Dr. Natalie Carson, lead xenobiologist. You arrived just in time. The pirates were after our research samples. What kind of samples? Commander Daniels asked. We've been studying the biological adaptations of various species to extreme environments, Dr. Carson explained. In the wrong hands, this research could be weaponized to target specific species. Later, in Captain Ward's ready room, the 3 cadets stood at attention, prepared for disciplinary action. To their surprise, Captain Ward was not alone. A hologram of Admiral Wright and several Concord officials observed the meeting. Your actions were reckless and against orders, Captain Ward said sternly. However, they were also effective and saved lives. The Concord Council wishes to speak with you. One of the Concord officials, a blue-skinned alien with large eyes, leaned forward. We have reviewed the ship's logs. You subdued 6 armed pirates without using lethal force or causing serious injury. How? Earth's gravity is stronger than standard Concord settings, Jack explained. We're used to moving in heavier conditions. When Cadet Sutton turned off the gravity, we had an advantage, the officials whispered among themselves. Jack noticed that they seemed less concerned about the victory and more interested in how efficiently they had handled the situation. In his quarters on Jupiter Station, Ambassador Zalvoras updated his report. Human combat effectiveness exceeds projections by 300%. They appear capable of improvisation beyond simulation parameters. Recommend increased monitoring. The human cadets returned to Jupiter Station as heroes. Other cadets who had once avoided them now wanted to hear about their adventure on the Intrepid. Jack found the attention uncomfortable. You'd think we saved the entire Concord, he muttered to Daniel as they walked through the station's main corridor. We just did what anyone would do, Daniel agreed. Not anyone, said a voice behind them. They turned to see Major Harrison approaching. Most species would have followed orders and stayed on the bridge. The intelligence officer guided them to a quiet corner. Your actions have attracted attention from Concord High Command. Some are impressed, others are concerned. Concerned? About what? Jack asked. That humans might be too unpredictable, too capable. Harrison's voice dropped lower. There's a meeting happening right now about the human situation. General Laura Bennett, Earth's military representative, is there, defending our interests. As they spoke, Olivia hurried toward them. Her face was tense with worry. I found something, she said quietly. I've been monitoring communications since we got back. There are encrypted messages being sent between certain Concord officials and a location in the Orion Spur. Show me, Harrison said. Olivia led them to her quarters. Her computer terminal displayed a complex pattern of data flows. I can't break the encryption, she admitted. But the timing is suspicious. These messages increased after our mission to Triton. Harrison studied the screen. This is concerning. I need to bring in someone else. He tapped his communicator. Agent Foster, please join us in Cadet Sutton's quarters. Minutes later, a woman with red hair and alert eyes arrived. She wore a science officer's uniform, but Harrison introduced her differently. This is Agent Michelle Foster. She's an undercover Earth intelligence operative. I've been monitoring Concord activities for 6 months, Foster explained. There's a faction that believes Earth is a potential threat. Your success on the Intrepid has strengthened their position. What do they want? Daniel asked. Some want to limit Earth's involvement in Concord affairs. Others want more extreme measures. Foster looked at each of them. We need your help. We're putting together a small team to investigate. The 4 of you plus Cadet Victor Rodriguez. Who's Rodriguez? Jack asked. Another human cadet who specializes in tactical operations, Foster explained. He's been working with us already. The next day, Jack received new orders. He and Daniel were being transferred to the Stellar Arbiter, the largest Concord battleship, for advanced training. Olivia and a cadet named Victor Rodriguez would remain at Jupiter Station to monitor communications. Before they left, Major Harrison briefed them. This is not a coincidence. The Arbiter is commanded by High Commander Drell Savas, a known hardliner against Earth. Your job is to observe and report only. Do not attract attention. The Stellar Arbiter was massive, 10 times the size of the Intrepid. When Jack and Daniel arrived, they were met by a tall, gray-skinned alien with ridge-like features and cold eyes. I am High Commander Drell Savas, he said without warmth. You will follow all orders precisely while aboard my ship. Earth cadets have a reputation for independence. That will not be tolerated here. Life on the Arbiter was strictly controlled. Jack and Daniel were assigned to separate sections and kept busy with mundane tasks. But they found ways to meet and share observations. They're assembling a fleet, Daniel whispered, during one such meeting in a maintenance corridor. I counted at least 20 warships joining formation with the Arbiter. And they're loading weapons, Jack added, more than would be needed for standard exercises. Back at Jupiter Station, Olivia and Victor worked tirelessly to uncover the truth. Using her engineering knowledge, Olivia gained access to restricted databases. I found something called Contingency Protocol, she told Victor one night. It mentions Earth specifically. What does it say? Victor asked, his dark eyes intense. Most of it is encrypted, but I found references to a protective blockade and security measures for potential threats. They sent this information to Agent Foster, who relayed it to Jack and Daniel on the Arbiter. That evening, Jack received a coded message from Foster. Earth's voice being silenced. General Bennett detained on false charges. Fleet preparing to move. Find evidence. With Daniel's help, Jack managed to access restricted areas of the Arbiter by creating a false maintenance emergency. What they found shocked them. The ship's weapon systems were being prepared for immediate use, and the navigation computers showed a course set for Earth. They're going to blockade our planet, Jack realized. Using the pirate attack as justification, they needed proof to warn Earth. As they searched the command deck, they were discovered by an officer. Humans are not permitted here, the officer said, reaching for his weapon. Wait, said a familiar voice. Ambassador Zalvoras stepped from the shadows. I authorized their presence. When the officer left, Jack stared at the ambassador in confusion. You're helping us? Why? Because this action against Earth is wrong, Zalvoras said simply. The Conquered was founded on principles of peace and cooperation, not fear and control. Some have forgotten this. He handed them a data crystal. This contains the fleet's true orders and communications between High Commander Drell Savas and his supporters. It proves they manufactured much of the evidence against Earth. Why would you betray your own people? Daniel asked suspiciously. I am not betraying the Conquered, Zalvoras replied. I am trying to save it from making a terrible mistake. Earth belongs among the stars with us, not isolated by our fear. Jack took the crystal. How do we get this to Earth? There is a communications array on Deck 12. It can send a tight beam transmission directly to Earth's defense network. But you must hurry, the fleet moves in 24 hours. On Jupiter Station, Olivia and Victor received an urgent message from Agent Foster. General Bennett has been arrested on charges of conspiracy, Foster told them. Commander Daniels, too. Earth's representatives are being systematically removed from positions of authority. We need to warn Earth's defense fleet, Victor said. And we need to tell Jack and Daniel, Olivia added. They're in danger. As they worked to establish a secure communication channel, alarms suddenly blared throughout Jupiter Station. All personnel to emergency stations, announced Admiral Wright's voice. This is not a drill. Olivia accessed the station's sensors. Multiple ships just jumped into the system. They're headed toward Earth. On the bridge of the Stellar Arbiter, High Commander Drell Savas stood before his officers. The containment of Earth begins in 24 hours, he announced. The Concorde has existed in peace for 10,000 years. We will not allow one violent species to disrupt that peace. In his private quarters, Ambassador Zalvoras sent one final message to his government. I cannot support this action. You have not seen what I have seen. Humans are not the threat we fear. They may be the allies we need. Then he deleted the message draft. It was too late for words now. Action would decide the fate of Earth and perhaps the Conquered itself. The space between Jupiter and Earth was filled with ships. The rogue Concorde fleet, led by the massive Stellar Arbiter, moved in formation toward Earth. On Earth's side, the defense fleet scrambled to respond to the sudden threat. All ships, battle stations, ordered Admiral Joseph Miller, commander of Earth's defensive fleet. His face was grim as he studied the tactical display. The Conquered fleet outnumbers us 3-1. Back on the Stellar Arbiter, Jack and Daniel raced through the corridors toward the communications array. Alarms blared around them, and crew members rushed to battle stations. We'll never make it through these crowds, Daniel said. Jack pointed to a maintenance hatch. This way. They climbed through narrow passages until they reached Deck 12. The communications room was guarded by 2 armed officers. "We need a distraction," Jack whispered. Daniel nodded and moved to a nearby control panel. Using the access codes Ambassador Zalvoris had provided, he triggered a system alert in another section of the ship. When the guards received the alert, one of them hurried away to investigate. Jack moved quickly, approaching the remaining guard. "Emergency message from the High Commander," he said, showing the guard a fake authorization. "For Earth's fleet." The guard hesitated, then stepped aside. Once inside the communications room, Daniel secured the door while Jack prepared the transmission. He inserted the data crystal Zalvoris had given them. "This is Cadet Jack Mercer to Earth Defense Command," Jack transmitted. "The Concord fleet is operating against official Concord authority, sending evidence now." On Earth, Director Samantha Cole of Earth Intelligence received the transmission. She reviewed the data with Admiral Miller. "This confirms our suspicions," she said. "This is not an authorized Concord action. It's a faction operating independently." "Can we get this information to the Concord Council?" Admiral Miller asked. "Our channels to the Council have been cut," Director Cole replied. "But we have another option." On Jupiter Station, Olivia and Victor had joined with Agent Foster and a communications specialist named Lieutenant Grace Powell. Together, they worked to hack into the Concord's communication network. "If we can broadcast the evidence to all Concord species simultaneously, we might stop this before it starts," Foster explained. Lieutenant Powell's fingers flew over the controls. "I can redirect the signal through the emergency broadcast system. Every Concord ship and station will receive it." "Do it," Olivia said. As the Concord fleet approached Earth's defense grid, High Commander Drell Savas addressed his officers. "We'll establish a blockade around the planet," he ordered. "Any Earth vessel that attempts to leave the system will be disabled. This is for the security of the Concord." Suddenly, every screen on the bridge changed. The evidence Jack and Daniel had transmitted began playing across the Concord fleet. Communications logs, falsified reports, and secret orders were displayed for all to see. "Shut it down," Drell Savas shouted. "I cannot," replied his communications officer. "The signal is coming through the emergency system." Across the fleet, crew, members of various species watched in shock as the conspiracy was revealed. Many had believed they were participating in a legitimate training exercise, not an unauthorized blockade. On the Stellar Arbiter, Jack and Daniel were discovered and surrounded by security officers. They were brought to the bridge where Drell Savas waited, his face twisted with anger. "You have committed treason against the Concord," he said. "The only treason here is yours," Jack replied calmly. "The Concord Council never authorized this action. Humans are a threat to the peace we have maintained for millennia," Drell Savas insisted. "Peace maintained through fear is not true peace," Daniel said. "We came to learn and cooperate, not to threaten anyone." "Your physical abilities make you inherently dangerous," Drell Savas said. "You could overpower most Concord species with ease." Jack looked around at the officers on the bridge, many of whom seemed uncertain now. "We offer to stand down," Jack announced. "We will submit to Concord justice if you withdraw your fleet." "You would surrender yourselves?" Drell Savas asked, surprised. "To prevent violence?" "Yes," Jack said firmly. "That's the difference you don't understand. Our strength isn't just physical. It's knowing when not to use that strength." A murmur spread through the bridge crew. One by one, officers began to step away from their stations. "I cannot follow these orders," said one, removing his insignia. "They violate Concord principles." "Nor can I," said another. Drell Savas looked around in disbelief as his crew began to turn against him. "You would side with these Deathworlders?" "They are willing to sacrifice themselves to prevent conflict," answered an officer. "That is more aligned with Concord principles than what we are doing." At that moment, the ship shuddered as something struck the hull. "We're under attack," shouted the tactical officer. "From where?" Drell Savas demanded. "Not from Earth forces," the officer replied in confusion. "From the Vanguard. Grand Counselor Thexorn's ship has arrived." On the main view screen appeared an ancient, wise-looking alien with pale blue skin and eyes that held both kindness and authority. "This is Grand Counselor Thexorn," he announced. "The actions of this fleet are not authorized by the Concord Council. All ships are ordered to stand down immediately." Throughout the fleet, commanders began powering down weapons. Some crews were already in open rebellion against orders they now knew were illegal. Drell Savas, seeing his plan collapsing, lunged for Jack with a blade drawn. Daniel moved to intercept, easily disarming the High Commander. But rather than striking back, Daniel simply held Drell Savas immobile. "This is why you fear us," Jack said quietly. "Not because we're strong, but because you don't understand us. We could hurt you, but we choose not to." Grand Counselor Thexorn arrived on the Arbiter with a security team. He had Drell Savas taken into custody and approached the human cadets. "The Concord Council offers its formal apology," Thexorn said gravely. "These actions were taken by a misguided faction, not with our approval." "Will Earth still have a place in the Concord?" Jack asked. "More than that," Thexorn replied. "Several member species have requested human leadership in rewriting Concord protocols. Your perspective is valuable to us." 3 months later, the first class of human Concord officers graduated at Jupiter Station. Jack, Olivia, and Daniel stood in their new uniforms as Admiral Wright presented them with their commissions. "You will remain at the Academy," she told them. "Not as students, but as instructors for a new joint species training program." Ambassador Zal Voras, now promoted to senior diplomatic envoy, approached them after the ceremony. "I have submitted my final report to my government," he said with a slight smile. "Would you like to know what it says?" "Please," Olivia replied. "Humanity's greatest strength is not their physical capabilities, but their ability to turn enemies into allies. Recommend full integration and partnership status." As the newly commissioned officers watched Earth and alien cadets mingling together at the reception, Admiral Miller gave a short speech. "They feared us because they didn't understand us," he said. "Our job isn't to fight for humanity's place among the stars. It's to show that humanity's place has always been among friends." Across the room, Jack noticed Drell Savas's former officers now speaking comfortably with human cadets, former enemies becoming allies, just as Zal Voras had said. "What happens next?" Daniel asked quietly. "We build something new," Jack replied. "Together."